Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In today's presentation, we're focusing on lesson 4b and we will be discussing the accusative case, a continuation from lesson 4a where we discussed nominative case, words ending in u, un, ani, una, atun and so forth. How do we understand accusative case in the Quran and in the Arabic language? The Arabic terminology for it is halatun nasb, or we could say mansoob case. Easier words just to try and understand the same thing. Words ending in or an will be in the accusative case, and this will apply to all singular words like ar-rajula, al-mar'ata in the ma'rifa form. And in the nakira indefinite form, rajulan, imra'atan. So we can hear the an sound coming out. This will also apply to broken plurals, words ending in and an, like ar-rijala and nisa'a with alif lam ma'rifa, rijalan and nisa'an without alif lam. Now what you notice here is that rajulan has a alif at the end and rijalan. Imra'atan and nisa'an doesn't have a alif at the end. There's a reason for that, which I just want to very briefly explain before we continue our discussion on accusative case. It's all to do with a spelling point. Now, what is mentioned here is that the letter alif is normally written after the last letter carrying fathatain. So let's look at the word abun in red here, and on the extreme left, abin in blue. We notice the last letter is the letter ba, but the letter ba is not carrying fathatain, two fathas or tanween. It's carrying dhammatain, two zammas, and two kasras, kasratain. So that's why in the red and in the blue, we find that there is no alif after it. But when we go to the green, aban, we find the letter ba is carrying fathatain, tanween, an. That's why we write an alif. So it's just a writing point, a spelling point. It's spelled in this way, and that is how you will find it in the Quran or in any other Arabic text. Similarly, rajulun in red and rajulin in blue do not have an alif because it doesn't end in fathatain. But when we go to rajulan, we see the lam. The last letter is the lam. It has a fathatain on top of it, so it will take an alif at the end. And the shape of the alif is a little bit different according to this way of typing it on the computer. Another example is baladun and baladin in blue, the red and blue. There's no fathatain on the dal, the letter dal, the last letter, so no alif after the letter dal. But let's go to the green. You see the dal is a fathatain, so in writing we put an alif, and now it is spelled with an alif as well. The same will apply to ilahun in red and ilahin. There is no fathatain on the last letter, so no alif after it. But when we come to the green ilahan, we will see the alif coming after the letter ha. It's the same letter ha what you see in red. The shape is a little bit different because you are joining it to an alif now. So wherever we're going to see this an sound, we're going to find this particular alif come after it. Except for two letters, Hamza and the round ta marbuta. If the last letter ends in a Hamza or ta marbuta, and it does have a fathatain, then we will not find the alif coming after it, like nisa'an and imra'atan. So we notice red, green, and blue, top and bottom, all three do not take an alif after it. Right, so that is what we wanted to discuss with regards to this writing or spelling point. Moving on to our discussion on accusative case, how else do we identify a word to be in the accusative case in Arabic and the Quran? So words ending in aini will also be in the accusative case, like rajulaini, two men, imra'ataini, two women. And this will apply to dual words. Now we understand why we have two sounds, rajulani, rajulaini, because it it goes back to case. It has to do with case. It's connected to case. Another way of identifying the accusative case is words ending in ina. And this will apply to unbroken plural words, which are masculine in form or in nature, like mu'minina, many male believers. Mu'minina, the opposite of mu'minuna, accusative case. Similarly, words ending in atin, and this will apply to unbroken plural words in the feminine form. Many female believers, mu'minatin, the opposite of mu'minatun. So mu'minatun is nominative case, mu'minatin is accusative case. Now, we don't only focus on the in. We look at atin, mu'minatin. It's supposed to be mu'minatan, but you don't get a sound as atan to represent the unbroken plural feminine form. It's atin. Words ending in the letter alif, what we call case by letter. So remember, the waw represented the nominative case. The alif represents the accusative case. Aba, father, akho or akha, akhofun maut, brother, fa, which is coming from faman, maut, and the, which is owner. So when we look at the opposite of aba in nominative case was abu, akho was akhu, fa was fu, and the was dhu. So you can see how it changes when you bring it over to the accusative case. To sum up accusative case, what we could say, number one, is words ending in an. Number two, words ending in aini. Number three, words ending in ina. Number four, words ending in atin. And number five, words ending in the letter alif. Let's get into the Quran and see how we can identify some examples in the Quran in the accusative case. On this particular slide, you see on top is nominative case, whatever you see in red, which we already did in lesson 4a. I just want to show you what can be identified in the accusative case on the same Quranic page. So the first example that will pop up is the word Allah. Yukhadi'un Allah her. So Allah her, accusative case. Allahu will be nominative case. The second example is anfusa. Whom is a pronoun, so the word ends at anfusa. Anfusu would be nominative. Anfusa is accusative case. Selves or souls. And the last example that I identified on this particular Quranic page is maradan, the an. So we had and now we got an, maradan. That is also an example of the accusative case. So you notice there are many reds on this particular page and very few greens. That will happen because the nominative case is the main case. We can now turn to the book or the notes that you have. Page 54 is where you have lesson 4b. This is part 2. Part 1 was 4a, the nominative case. Explanation is given here with all the examples in the indefinite nakira form and definite ma'rifa form. So there you have the singular words, an, all is or an, depending on ma'rifa nakira, and broken plural words, an and or an. Page 54, it carries on with aini, all the dual words, ma'rifa nakira, and then you go at the bottom, ina, the unbroken plural words, masculine. Nakira as well as ma'rifa with alif lam, ina. We go to page 56, you got words ending in atin, you got nakira, and you got ati ma'rifa. So whether it's ati or atin, doesn't matter, as long as the art sound comes out, ati, atin. And at the bottom is case by the letter alif, where you have these 4 examples. And another form of the word fa is faman. Famun, faman. Fu, fa, which means mouth. This is the activity you need to complete. The instructions are on the top here. So read the instructions and inshallah you can then complete this particular activity or exercise. There are some new words here. Alamat, which is signs. Lahman is meat. Shay'an is thing. Sadafain is the two mountains. As-Sadafain, the 2 mountains. Then we've got Sinin, which is years. Like many years, you know. Other words have already come, so I'm not going to go through those words. It's just the case may be changing. And then lastly, activity 2, you have this particular 2 instructions to follow, and just to identify it and then call it out, so it gives you the sound of an, and so forth. To sum up the accusative case endings, we have and an for singular and broken plural words. Al-Muslima, Musliman. We've got all the dual words ending in aini, Muslimaini. Then we've got the masculine unbroken plural words, Muslimina, ina ending sound, and atin ending sound for feminine unbroken plural words, Muslimatin, and then the letter alif like aba. And lastly, in the middle here, we've got the a sound, which also represents the nominative case. So Zakaria and Musa can be in the nominative case as well as in the accusative case. If the sound is the same, how do we make a distinction? The context will determine. However, the word is located in that particular Quranic verse or ayah, that will determine the case. So inshallah, you'll have a better understanding of that when we put other words into context. Then you'll be able to understand it better. So that's all for today, and inshallah ta'ala, see that you understand this concept of accusative case and learn the new words that appears in the book. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.